Texas could work.
Come on.
And
Not through there,
should
you
be
dumb fuck. Come on.
Love you.
There you go. Always a good boomer.
Oh, okay.
I'm shocked I missed you, you little shit.
I shared show notes.
Yes.
Down. Jeez.
I think that's all I got. You guys ready to start this thing?
Yes. Brush it off.
Alright, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston, going around the room. We got Knobs.
What's up?
And we have the Hannah.
Hello.
Let's just jump right into it. Let's not muck around here.
No.
Knobs, what have you been playing?
Hey, I missed you guys last week.
Yeah.
I was out down south playing a little analog games, winning some monies, playing euchres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
Apparently, when they double checked my math, I ended up winning.
Hey.
That's not good for what I do.
Yeah, well, you know.
But no, euchre tournament was a good time last week. Snowstorm kept me from making it here on time.
Yeah.
So, I apologize, everyone. Sorry.
You're back now.
But in the midst, we had some fun Battlefield nights, a couple more Evolve sessions, if you will. But I want to get into what pretty much the main game that I played last week. Totally. I absolutely crushed Saints Row 4.
Okay.
Nice.
I didn't realize I had such a problem with shiny things in space that I have to collect everything I see.
You didn't learn that from Crackdown?
No, because I told myself in the outset of playing this game, like, I know what's going to happen, and I'm
And
just
there's
ready.
like 5,000 orbs. I'm not going to get all of them. It's okay.
Yeah. I was like, I already told myself, I was like, all right, you're not going to hunt down everything. Next thing I know, I have 600 orbs. I'm like, what is going
Just
on?
like, oh no. Oh no, it's happening.
No.
Just methodically cleaning out everything I see.
Yep.
And that was before I had it on the mini-map where they were. Like, I was just going crazy. So, I crushed that game again, and that game, it was better the second time around.
So are you playing on Xbox One, I'm assuming?
Yes.
How is performance on that? I've seen some kind of mixed messages about frame rate is not super great. Not consistent.
It was better than the 360 version, is about the best I can say.
Okay, so it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't game breaking. Like, I had to stop. Why is my nose itching?
Because we're streaming video live.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there like, ha ha ha. Well, someone's thinking. Oh. Whatever. But no, it was like you're not playing that game for performance.
Sure.
First and
No.
foremost.
It's not going to be the thing where, like, if you care about 60 frames, like, pick up the PC version.
Yeah.
And it had been so long before I had watched the movie They Live with Keith David.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, in between playing Saints Row 4 the last time and Saints Row 4 this time, I'd watched the movie several times.
Right.
And I had forgot how funny that whole sequence with Keith David is.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
The only thing I wish is they had, like, the alien faces in there at some point, but I'm sure that was some trademarking problem. They couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Tom Gamer let me in on one of the secret guns. They got the noisy cricket from Men in Black.
Oh,
That's
really?
awesome. That's such a weird one to put in that game.
Yeah.
That was in Saints Row 4. It was in one of the Let's Pretend stores. You shoot one of the employee only doors. It opens up. You go down in the basement, and there's all the developers' heads in like a shooting gallery. And there's like whatever, like the noisy roach or whatever they called it in this.
Yeah.
In this game.
I
That's
never knew about that.
fantastic.
It's this
Interesting.
little thing, and you level up, and the explosion's massive.
Yeah.
But
That's awesome.
but yeah, so that game is still one of my favorite things. Like, I was laughing out loud all over again.
Nice.
So And I forgot about the line with Keith David. Like a lot of this stupid stuff happening in the world, and when he's running around with Ben King, and he's like, "So how'd you get Keith David?" He's like, "How does anyone get Keith David?" He just asked him. He said yes. Like, but yeah, like all those jokes. Like a second time around, I think I picked up on a whole bunch more of them. But one of my favorite one was after you get out of the sequence with Keith David and the whole "They Live" sequence, when you don't call Roddy, he goes where he's needed. Like it's just.
Oh man.
And him keep calling the mech suit a robot. And they're like, no, it's more like a mech suit. Don't ruin this, Keith. Like, it's, or just the dumb moments like, I love you. Like, just like, he's talking to this Mechbot that he's riding around in.
That's fantastic.
Oh, man.
But it is so funny, and I forgot how awesome the dubstep gun was. I knew it was great, and I forgot how amazing, how well designed that gun is.
I hope nothing ever uses that again. Like, that's just a one-and-done joke, and nothing can ever use it.
It was of its time.
Oh, stop it. I would love that thing and everything, because with the explosive wubs, it starts making it rain. Like, it is...
That's true.
It is so awesome. Because the music they use with those guns, those 3 default tracks, are unbelievably good dubstep.
Yeah.
So then they have the DLC dubstep gun, which has, like, classical music, metal, a polka song, which was a riot.
Oh yeah, I used the metal one. It was very fast.
It was very fast, but the wind up on it was, you're like, come on. All right, let's just build so much anticipation for that. Brrr, like, that's so great. But no, so I played that game a lot, so I figured I need to hop into the DLC now that I've finished this.
Sure.
Of course.
So Enter the Dominatrix was genius.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I ever played that one.
You should, because I can't spoil it, because it's like there's so many great moments. But how it's set up was like it's like an interview. They're saying, "Well, tell us about Enter the Dominatrix," and your character looks over. It's like, "Are we really doing this?" Like just like what? All right, so here's what's going on in this first act, and it has this one guy that they've referenced in the game. Donnie Law was their lawyer or something, and he was completely cut from the game. So they're interviewing. He's like, "I can't believe they cut all my stuff." But the best part was, I mean, Zemos makes an appearance in the best way possible.
Nice.
Even Zinyak is right at the start. Like, it was supposed to be my big debut, and it ends kind of funny, and especially the way I took him out. I kneecapped him, but anyway, you'll have to experience it yourself. But at the end, like, they're like, all right, so they go through first, second, and third act. So they talk about the first act, and then they do all the other, making the crazy AI that's taken over the entire simulation as a dominatrix. And then there's Matt Miller and Pierce. Yeah, that was our idea. They like bump fists. Like, it's
nice.
It was great. So at the end, like, they're asked, it goes to your boss, and he's like, "Well, can you tell us anything about the finale, or about what's going to happen next?" And he just says, "Grand blanking finale." She's like, "You're not gonna elaborate on that?" And they're like, and he just sits back in his chair. And he's like, "I don't have to," in the best way possible. So I recommend anyone, if you picked up that definitive version, you need to play it. You need to play the Dominatrix before you finish that game. And then of course I rolled that into playing The Saints Save Christmas, which was awesome. That was just brilliant. There's all sorts of what's it called? Back to the Future references, all the old like dumb Christmas, like the stuff we all have grown to like love, hate.
Yeah.
It's all in there. And then Santa's special weapon was a Christmas dubstep gun.
Amazing.
Did it play Jingle Bells?
So there's like Santa's broke up into two parts. Well, first off, it's set up with like future Shawnee coming back into the future, saying Santa wipes out the entire human race.
Oh, so it's the future on the timeline.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Well, it's not Santa Claus. It's Santa and Claus. And Claus is pretty much one of the wardens with a Santa skin on him.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But there were so many moments that were just fantastic, like shooting gingerbread men and Mechbot Nutcrackers machines. Like, I loved it. I love that game so much. I cannot wait for those guys to do more stuff. Like, I really hope there's another Saints game coming on the way.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I wonder... That's going to be tough for them, though, because, like, where do you go from here? Like, you kind of have to reboot Saints Row.
Oh, man. You know what's funny is, like, the only character, like, I really am not a fan of is Johnny Gat. Like, I thought there was just enough Gat in 3. I was fine.
Yeah, like, the dude who's supposed to be the main character is kind of the least interesting.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Well, it's because your character is voice acted so well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Johnny Gat was always like, whoa, crazy Johnny Gat, what's he going to do next? Whoa. And it's like, I'm running up buildings. I don't care what Johnny Gat is doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. Like, granted, like, his was probably one of my favorite missions, the rescue mission with him in the 8-bit Streets of Rage.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
But it was... That game's a masterpiece.
I still think it's really great.
I loved 3, and I don't know how they could make a game better than 3, and they did it with 4.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, that's probably... I mean, like I said, I destroyed that game. Excuse me. And it's literally all I did. All I did over this week and a half. Let's play Saints Row. It grabbed my attention that hard.
Yeah. I know how you feel.
All right, Hannah, what has been grabbing your attention this last week?
Man, it's been a weird week for me, gaming-wise. So we got 2 weeks in a row now, Wednesday night game night on PS4.
Hey.
And I'm pretty happy with the crew we've got together here. It's myself, Timasil from the forums, who goes by Troy and Abed NAM.
Oh, nice.
On PS4. We've got Smarty Pants, who I don't know if he's on the forums or not. And the man I forgot last week, Super Epic Bruno. On PSN. So my apologies again. I apologized on Wednesday as well, but I don't know how I missed you because it was a great time. So we ended up playing Loadout this week.
Oh, nice.
And it was a lot of fun. We booted up. It was me, Timasil, Super Epic Bruno, Smarty Pants. We had a lot of trouble getting a party together correctly because I wasn't getting invites for the in-game party.
Oh, weird.
I actually got all of those invites about, let's say, a day later. I booted up PS4 the next day. And I had like 8 or 9 game invites. I was like, what is all this? And it was all like between 7 and 7:30 the night before.
PSN.
Yeah, it's real rough. But I mean, like once we all hard quit, I ended up being party leader and inviting everybody, and it ended up working out.
That's one of those things. Like Sony's done a lot of work transitioning from PS3 to PS4, and since the PS4 has been out to kind of clean up a lot of those issues that Microsoft figured out at kind of day one for the 360.
Yeah.
But man, sometimes getting parties together is just sort of like, did you get the invite? And it's like, no. Oh wait, he's not online anymore. Wait, he sent me a text. Where'd you guys go? Like, it's just one of those things where, on the Xbox One and the 360, it's just like, oh, all right, we're in the party. All right, the game figured it out. Sweet, we're playing. Yeah.
Like getting a party together on PSN is really easy. You just go to party and you either join the party or you invite people to the party. Yeah. It would be great if there were tighter integration between that party and the parties that you put together in the actual games. Yeah. That's the gap that there is right now.
Yeah, the thing the 360 figured out almost immediately was like, all right, you've started a game and you have a party. Do you want to just use that? Yes or no? And then it just figured it out.
That blows my mind. It was something that the 360 figured out worked so well. Yeah. And they managed to, in both sides, like, you know how this should work.
Yeah, everybody loves it already.
Yeah.
Like you already figured it out.
But that's your standard headache that we seem to get with these games. So once we got into the game, it was a ton of fun. We played. I think the first mode is called like Jackhammer, which is effectively capture the flag, but instead of capturing flags, you're capturing basically what is the gravity hammer from Halo.
Nice.
And played Driftball?
Almost.
Yeah.
The thing that I noticed immediately about this game is that it is sort of TF2, but like not in the same way. It's got that art style, but it's also incredibly violent with that art style. It's more Looney Tunes than anything, with blood.
Yeah, like a gory Looney Tunes.
Yeah, like you can lose your whole head and just be a brain and eyeballs, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
and still be roaming around. We played the Jackhammer mode, which is capture the flag, and then we decided to try out Annihilation mode, which takes different aspects of like 3 or 4 modes. So you have to earn 10,000 points for your team, and you can do that by capturing the other team's hammer. You can do that by capturing points on the map, or you can do that by killing other players and collecting the bounty on them, which is just like a file that you pick up. Yeah. So you get 10,000 points, and then these 2 like giant orbs of like electricity like come down around your base. And what you have to do at this point, which I didn't figure out until somebody else figured it out and beat us, you have to get the other team's hammer, bring it all the way back to your base, charge it, and then bring it all the way back to their base and get into their spawn area and destroy this target.
Oh, wow.
And it only takes 1 hit. You destroy that, and it destroys like their drop ship or something, and game over.
That's
like
cool.
super capture the flag.
Yeah. It was awesome. Like once we figured, well, I think it was who figured that out. Was it Timus? It was one of the other guys figured it out and was like, I figured it out and then won.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh hey, this is what you have to do. Bam. So we played a bunch of that. Then we jumped into mission mode at that point, and started doing missions. And we finally started getting other like pieces and parts for guns, because the big draw of this game is build your own guns.
Right.
So you can customize, like, there's 6 or 7 different parts on the weapon. You customize the barrel, the type of damage it does, the type of clip it has, the type of like elemental damage it does. It's all sorts of crazy. But the most fun we had was, I believe it was either Bruno or Smarty Pants, I can't remember, which had a gun that they had made previously because they had been playing this game before. And this was a gun that they had decided to name after the Tone Loc song, Funky Cold Medina, and it was called Funky Cold Medina. So the goal of the game pretty much turned into kill him, pick up Funky Cold Medina, and keep killing people, because it was like a level 6 gun and we were all like level 1.
Right.
And I posted it on the forums in the Wednesday Night Game Night thread, but there was a great moment between, I think, with myself and Smarty Pants, and he comes around the corner with it, and I come around the corner with it, and we both shoot each other, and we literally die in sync. Like, it's like maybe a fraction of a second apart, and we do the same exact death animation. It was fantastic.
Gotta love the 1-to-1s.
Oh,
yeah. So I pulled that one off the PS4, trimmed it down, and uploaded it to YouTube. But yeah, that game is a ton of fun. The unfortunate part is the mission mode only supports up to 4 players. So to like continue to earn, parts for guns and stuff, you can only play with 4 players. But the other modes, I believe I saw it supported up to 7 or 8.
Nice.
So we can get a pretty decent sized crew going.
Yeah.
I would love to play it this next Wednesday, but obviously Injustice is also another abiding favorite for now. I was super tempted to like figure out, like, wait for like something like Battlefield to go on sale.
Yeah.
And like, because I would like to get a bigger group.
Yeah.
And we need a game that like supports a bigger group is basically what it comes down to.
Your sweet spot for groups is 6 to 8.
Yeah. Now, right now we normally we would have had 6. The other Jay-Z couldn't make it, and Mr. Zaz just came out too late. He had already signed off by the time he got on, so our apologies for that, good sir, but I had to work, unfortunately. So yeah, Wednesday Night Game Night is 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific. Come out, join us on PS4. It's a blast. And hopefully, as we get more PlayStation Plus games, or we figure out what games we're playing, we'll have more options.
Yeah.
I played a bunch more Super Hexagon. I finally beat my score on Hexagoner mode, the second difficulty. I'm almost at 60 seconds on that to unlock a hyper mode for that difficulty. So stay tuned for that. That probably won't happen for a couple weeks because I'm pretty sure I did that by luck. I played a little bit of Rollers of the Realm.
Oh yeah.
On PS4, I picked that up for I think it was like $4 on sale, and then used the 10% coupon on it. So I got it super cheap. That's a really interesting concept for a game.
Yeah, I had played it. I think when we were off on our holiday break, I'd played it a little bit and started like the first mission.
Yeah.
And I was sort of like, this is interesting. The ball physics are okay.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure I like this at first blush.
Yeah, it was a little weird at first, but then I started to get the hang of it. The most annoying part about it is you don't know where all the flippers are at first.
Right.
You have to sort of go, okay, hit the right side, hit the left side, figure out where all these flippers are, and it's sort of like half a puzzle game, half an RPG, and like half a pinball game.
Well, it was sort of weird because like I had started it, and they get to this first big story sequence, and I was like, boy, this is going on a long time, and I was like, right, it's an RPG. Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
A little too much time in between boards.
Yeah. Which, it's an RPG, but at the same time, like, it doesn't need to be that much of an RPG, maybe, because the pinball puzzle part of it is a little bit more interesting.
Definitely. I really like, trying to figure out how to get into a certain spot.
Yep.
And get like a treasure or a key, or get to the next level properly. I really like the fact that you can quote unquote switch characters.
Yep.
By so you would get the ball resting between one of the main paddles on the side, and you hit up or down on the left stick, and you can switch between the rogue, which is the red smaller ball, the warrior, who is like this large blue marble, and I think I just picked up the healer. I haven't used her yet. But I like that you have a party that you can just switch. But that's such an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I can't wait to play around more with this game. It's a really cool concept, which I don't know if I can pass judgment on whether or not I really like it a lot. But I will definitely have more time to play this now because I finally finished Dragon Age Inquisition.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
That was awesome. I don't really know what happened at the end there, but it was awesome. I feel like I can barely describe what happened without getting into super spoiler territory, because everything that happened is just massive spoilers, and I assume slightly different depending on what route you took with certain decisions.
Yeah, a lot of the differences are going to be surrounding that. So this isn't a spoiler, but if anybody is super, super worried about the ending of this game, you kind of have your main boss battle, and then you have a really short ending, and then you have kind of this almost 80s movies ending where it's sort of like, and then they went on to do this, and then they went on, and it's a very easy way for them to say,
the Animal House.
Kinda, yeah. But it's, when you think about it, it's kind of an easy way for them to sort of say, like, all right, here's a big decision, here's a big thing in the game, and depending on who you sided with, it could go one of 5 different ways. So the easiest way is for one character to sort of say, and then because of this thing happened. And I thought it turned out pretty cool. And then the credits happened, and then there was this thing at the ending.
Yes, there was a thing at the ending.
There really was.
There were things I wish I had done before I saw that thing at the ending.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, I thought that whole ending sequence turned out pretty well. As well as a huge RPG like that could do. What was your final hour count?
So it's pretty inaccurate because I left it on pause a few times, but it was 105 hours. It's probably closer to 70 because there was one day where I just accidentally left it on all day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I spent a lot of time in that game, and I think I'm going to let it sit for a while before I come back to it and try to do more
Yeah.
But I would like to do some of the some more of the side quests, and I killed, I think, two of the dragons. I did the Hinterlands dragon and the Crestwood dragon.
Nice.
And that was a ton of fun. Those fights were really cool. I was a little over leveled for them, but that just meant I actually finished them.
Yeah, don't worry though. There's three of them in one area at the
Yeah.
end that are all very, very tough, even
Cool.
if you're over leveled.
Yeah, so I did finally figure out the issue I was having with Iron Bull. I think I texted you this. So I determined that the weapon I had given him, which was, I think, the Punisher, is a two-handed rare hammer that it has a Berserk modifier on it that he does 10% more damage to anything, but he also takes 100% more damage from everything.
Yeah.
Which is why he was dropping like a fly in any fight beyond like a basic fight.
That happened to me too, and I read that thing and I was like, well, that sounds okay. And I was like, no, wait, 100% more?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, no, that's way too much damage. Like
Yeah.
he didn't break a sweat once I gave him a different weapon.
Yeah.
And I ended up giving him I think it was called Clarity. It was this like two-handed sword, this epic two-handed sword that was like 307 damage per second. It was insane.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was awesome. So he was just going nuts. I did follow. Musum posted some advice in the episode thread for last week about fighting dragons, and I did follow some of that. I ended up using the tactical mode a little bit just to concentrate fire on one section
Yeah.
of the dragon, and making sure my tank was at the head and keeping it away from like myself and Dorian so that we could do damage.
Yeah, that was all really good advice, especially the
Yeah.
the one for using tactical mode to get some of your guys out of the part where dragons are breathing fire in a cone.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times
Yeah.
they're like, this seems okay. Whoops, I'm dead.
Yeah, and it's I also leveled up a bunch of my potions and tonics like he suggested, and that worked gangbusters.
Did you get into a lot of armor and weapon crafting or anything?
I did actually.
I thought
but
that
I
was
didn't
really
have,
neat.
It was really neat, but it was really unfortunate that you couldn't compare the armor you were crafting
Yep.
to the armor you already had equipped.
Yep.
I found that really frustrating because I would have to back all the way out, go back to my inventory, and figure, okay, this person's wearing this person's wearing this. These are my maxes. This is my minimums, and they need to make these restrictions more obvious. I made a whole bunch of. I made two sets of armor, one for Cassandra and one for Iron Bull, and they were dwarf only.
Yeah, and the problem with the game is, and it's such a big problem, and I really wish they would have addressed it somehow, is like a lot of people would get like 40 hours into that game, and they didn't realize that they could upgrade Varric's bow.
Yeah,
Because at the upgrade weapons item thing, you have to change your character to Varric for that option to show up.
because he will almost always have the bow equipped.
Right. And it's
Yeah.
like, and with that armor stuff, like they're just assuming, well, you're going to upgrade armor for Cassandra, so you're just going to pick her and then upgrade the armor when she's selected. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm going to keep my main character selected because I don't want to do that, and it's slow as hell switching between characters.
Yeah,
So,
because it's loading in a full model of a character.
right, and like if you were to select Cassandra and then go make that armor for her, it would have a red text that says dwarf only. But no one's gonna do that. Like that's not something you're gonna spend the time doing. Because you can't compare armor.
And once I figured it out, I was like, okay, I have to go out to inventory. I have to figure out what everything is, and I didn't have enough plans to like make a lot of stuff. So I concentrated on making stuff for my character.
Right.
I think I made a shield for Cassandra. I did some weapon crafting too, which was really nice. Early on, weapon crafting is nice because it's better than all the drops you get.
And when you play Nightmare mode, it's very important because the stuff you can craft is so much better than the stuff you can pick up, because the really great stuff in the game you get from killing dragons.
Yes.
You know, it's like this way overpowered purple loot. But before that, you kind of have all this stuff that's sort of like, yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's fine. But it's not nearly as good as the stuff that you can craft from some places that I feel like there weren't enough places where that shared schematics.
Yes.
You know, there's this one place in wherever that really icy place is, Emprise de Lyon.
Emprise de Lyon, yeah.
Yeah. There's one place at the very, very end of that after you capture the keep There's great schematics there, like level
Nice.
3, like the best ones you can get.
Oh, nice.
But it's after all of this stuff, and it's after this really hard keep to capture. So at that point, you're just like, well, I'm leaving. Like, this place is tough.
There's like a merchant table that's just like a dog watching over it. It has like a note on it or
Yeah,
something.
and
There's
the
that hissing
hissing
waste.
wastes.
Yeah. That has a bunch of stuff in it that's really expensive that I was like, ooh, I should buy all of that. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, I can't afford most of that.
Yeah.
So I want to go back there. And I really want to, I think my end goal for this game is just beat all the dragons. That's what I want to do.
That's the real fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I could handle like probably half of them at this point, and like the last 3 are going to be the tough ones.
If you've already beaten 2 of them, you already have your good strategy down. So a lot of it is just like, all right, I'm gonna go fight this dragon. Oh, it's lightning. Okay, I have to go respec my characters to spirit, and then you have a lot easier time.
Yeah.
The lightning one is for some reason one of the hardest ones. And the Shattered Coast.
Yes,
that one's the toughest.
Yeah, I've heard that fight is not fun.
No, it's a slog. That thing has a ton of HP and
yeah.
Ugh.
Cool.
Man, that game is good.
It is really good. I had a great time with it, but I'm really just sort of excited to play something else. I moved the 360 up into upstairs so I can use it on the other TV, and I can play Assassin's Creed Rogue and start on that, and start on the Game Club game, Dead Space 2, which I have for 360.
Oh, nice.
So
really?
I'm excited to start.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I got it for 360. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So that was the majority of my week. But Friday night, I did something a little different. I
killed a man.
Well, he's dead inside.
Well,
I sat down and played and streamed PT.
oh, okay.
And my reactions there too. Long story short, there's a lot of me swearing and a lot of me screaming like a complete wuss.
And a little bit of you crying.
Yeah, not quite, but just like a lot of me like, oh, what's gonna happen next? Oh my god, just like whispering to
Please,
myself.
baby Jesus, no! Oh my god.
Yeah. So I went into it like having no real prior knowledge. The only thing I really knew about PT was that it was one continuous loop, sort of,
Right.
and that it was Silent Hill related. So
Right.
I
and
sort of
scary as all hell.
yeah, I was sort of prepared for that. Not entirely.
No,
I don't do scary games. Like,
Yeah.
it's normally not my forte. I don't like that feeling. It's not a good feeling. I can get adrenaline other ways.
Watching people stream scary games is some of my favorite stuff because you come up with some of the best non sequiturs where it's like,
Yes.
oh god, that door's open.
Well, so the other Jay-Z is already planning as he phrased it, Sink Baby costume for
God.
PAX. And I made the mistake of telling
Jay-Z,
him.
please don't.
I made the mistake of pointing out that it sort of looked like Isaac from Binding of Isaac.
Oh, it kind of does, yeah.
It kind of does.
That's messed up.
One of the non sequiturs that happened was it's sad when the most comforting thing in a game is an aborted fetus in a sink.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
Yeah, that game has all sorts of messed up stuff.
And just the fact that anyone figured out how to beat or accomplish anything in the game is a miracle to me, because I got to a point, not even halfway through probably, where I literally pretty much just gave up trying to solve anything. And thankfully I had about 9 or 10 people watching me on Twitch, and they just started feeding me
Yeah,
hits.
it's like, okay, go back to that room, stare at this clock until this person says something creepy, look at this picture, do the loop again.
Or until the baby laughs,
Right.
because that's not creepy.
No.
Oh, God.
Wait, the baby in the sink laughs?
Yes.
Yeah. You should watch someone play that game, Knobs. It is.
You should watch
it
me
is
play that game.
frightening.
It's on YouTube.
There you go.
So yeah, I played that. I won't say I had a good time
I
playing
had
that.
a time.
It was an experience that I'm glad I had. I'm a little resentful of Kojima at the moment. It was it was interesting. I'm glad I did it. I'm not necessarily happy that I played it, but I'm glad I had the experience.
Now you can go play something that's just regular garden variety tents, like Dead Space 2.
Dead Space 2, yes. Like I feel like I'm totally prepared for Dead Space 2. And I think the thing that got to me most with PT, like it was simultaneously frustrating and like part of the atmosphere. You can't do anything in that game.
No.
You use the X button once. Other than that, you are walking with the left stick and looking with the right stick. That's pretty much it.
Yep.
And just the jump scares in that are the worst because they do the haunting thing where you get that like that Silent Hill like grindy background like just noisescape, and then someone screaming through radio static, and suddenly out of nowhere there's a shadowy figure down the hallway, and you're
whispers.
like, I'm just gonna repeat the loop, and the baby crying in this. It's so. Ugh.
Dimebag315 in chat says, I hope Silent Hill will be great after so many years of hiccups. I do too. Like it's sad to see like the Silent Hill fans being like, maybe this one's the good one.
Yeah.
And then just have it come out and they're like, nope, I'll see you for the next one. At least PT is, as a teaser, is sort of like, okay, maybe someone gets horror games. Maybe this won't get carried over into Silent Hills, but maybe at the very least we had this shining glimmer of hope that someone gets a scary. Maybe Silent Hill can be scary again. Maybe.
Yeah. So I think if I had been willing to sit down and play that game and figure it out, I would have gotten probably about to the point where you start getting the pieces of that picture.
Right.
I think the rest of it, I probably could have worked it if I weren't a giant wimp.
Yeah.
But once you get to the after you put all the pieces of the picture together, logic goes out the window. There's nothing at least with the pieces of the picture, you can sort of you can look around at stuff and zoom in on stuff. It's oh, I see that thing there. Okay, that's good. But once you get past that, you have to stare at this. You have to stare at this clock. You have to take this many steps, and you can't see your feet, so you can't really count the steps.
Yeah.
You have to do it by the movement of the controller, and then you have to say a specific word into the microphone.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the most consistent, and apparently the most consistent and easy way to beat it. I looked up a guide at the end because I was just I need this over. I'm so close. I can't just give up.
Yeah.
I wanted to give up about 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
So I looked up the guide, and the guide specifically said, you need to whisper this word into the microphone. So I did, and scared the crap out of everyone watching.
Fromage.
Yeah.
One of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone had a little panic attack when I did it because they were like, what was that? And then, because you whisper the word about 5 to 10 seconds later, it registers, and then the baby giggles again.
Oh, God. Horror game non sequiturs, my favorite.
Oh, God. It was a very it was so stressful. I tensed up my left leg the entire time. My left leg was just I gave myself a Charlie horse. It was
thanks, Kojima.
Yeah, but the fact that a game can do that to you speaks very highly of it. And this game is gorgeous.
That's one thing that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about is it's actually really great looking.
Yeah, it's incredible looking. I mean, the textures are. There's not a single texture I looked at and went, "Oh, that looks kind of."
Especially since you have to get up close to a lot of them.
Yes. There were some spots it was a little too dark, but I think it was more that was more for atmosphere.
Yeah.
And just the amount of tension in that game that they build throughout is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I really don't know how much. I mean, it was good. It was real good. But it was also horrifying on a very deep level.
Yeah.
So, job well done.
Yeah.
That's about all I can say about that game. I feel like I played something else this week, but I just can't think of it. So we're going to call it there. That's all I played this week.
All right. I have played more Dust and Elysian Tale.
Oh, nice.
Just a little bit more. Doing a couple more side quests. And I'm at the point where I quit when I was playing on the 360. And
Yeah.
I didn't like throw my controller up and say, well, I'm done with these shenanigans. I just kind of, I kind of,
Power through it.
no, I just kind of fizzled out on it.
Oh.
And I kind of feel like I'm at the same thing too, where I was sort of playing it and I'm like, I don't really know. Because I think one of my biggest problems is that, and it sounds like such a minor thing, but when I compare it to other Metroidvanias, like if I'm playing Symphony of the Night, comparing it to Dust, one of my larger problems is Dust as a character gets way more powerful as you go through the game, as you do in a Metroidvania, because you're leveling up your stats and you're getting better equipment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But one of my largest problems is when you go to attack a bunch of enemies that are on the ground, and you start going up to them, they do this really weird thing where they jump at you, but they kind of jump through the back of the environment, so you can't attack them all at once. So one of my favorite things to do in nearly any Metroidvania is once you get really powerful, you are just mowing down hordes of enemies that are in front of you, because you have Shadow Complex, you have some crazy super railgun that just throw all these
I
enemies.
gotta play that again.
Or like Symphony of the Night, you have some crazy screen clearing sword that you just do a quarter circle and then hit the X button and then everything is dead.
Yeah.
And in this game, you can't go to the next room until the enemies that are on screen with you are dead. So it's this bad combo of, I just need to get to this other room because I got the double jump, and now I can go over here and get this treasure that's over there. But I have to like slog through all of these like level 1 enemies that I can't hit half the time, and I just want to go. I just want to get through the screen so I can get this cool thing over there.
So it's kind of hindering your process then.
Yeah, and like that's one of my biggest things is like I certainly don't mind a Metroidvania game gating progress to cool stuff, because I don't have double jump. I don't have this thing that lets me jump down in air gusts and then jump all the way back up really high.
Yeah, that's just level design.
Yeah, and that's just how those games are. But when I can't get from point A to point B and the map is big, and the game is kind of confusing too, because when you're on the map, you have like this little square, and I know I complained about this on the 360 version. I'm going to complain about it again. Let's compare this to Symphony of the Night. When you go to Symphony of the Night, you have a square on the map. That's one screen. If you have like on the map, it's like 3 or 4 squares up. That's 4 screens. On Dust, you have one square on the map. That area is huge. And it's not directly equivalent to, well, here's this square. Yes, a square is a screen. It's 7 screens tall by 12 screens wide. And a lot of that time is like, there's a circle on the map if there's there's some sort of treasure in that area. But the problem is like, I have no idea where it is on this giant screen, because there's just this one little map icon where it's like, yeah, there's something here. I don't know. It's just like, the completionist that loves the Metroidvania games for me gets really frustrated by it, because there's so much great stuff going there, but the basic level stuff is kind of frustrating. Slug Jones in chat says, I couldn't play it on my 360. The frame rate was terrible, like near a slideshow. Apparently, that was a problem on the 360 version, and I'm playing on the PS4 version. It's 1080p 60 frames. It's great. If anybody was enjoying the game and had frame rate problems on the previous versions, the PS4 version is fantastic. I don't remember if it came out on Xbox One too. I don't recall.
I feel like it would have.
Yeah. But I'm sure they fixed. It's only made by one guy. I'm sure he fixed that problem on Xbox One too. So, I mean, it's still a good game, and it's still really fun to play, and it's the fighting system is very satisfying. It's just a Metroidvania game, when you get from like 90% completion to 100, that's the point where you have to keep pulling the player along, and you can't drive them crazy. The only other game I played this week was Destiny, since I'm still not feeling well, and I figured that I would go through the DLC, the single player DLC, for that came out with the Darkness Below. Yeah,
The Dark Below.
Yeah, DLC 1 that they basically just call it in the game. Did not know how short it was. It was only 3 missions.
Yep.
I'm level 29. I'm like sneezing on level 30.
Yeah.
So a lot of that was really easy. I do have to say, there's a good amount of voice acting in there, high quality as it typically is with Bungie. No Peter Dinklage, which I am the only person that's kind of upset about. I like his stuff in the game.
Yeah.
I thought all 3 missions were really creepy, which is kind of a nice change for Destiny, especially the third one. So the whole crux of this DLC is Crota, the raid boss. You're trying to help someone stop the Hive from waking Crota on the moon. And the whole playthrough of the third mission, Crota's kind of whispering in your ears the whole time, and I was playing with headphones. I was like, "Ooh, this is kind of spooky. I'm digging this."
Yeah.
But then you finish all 3 missions, and the game is like, "Good job, thanks. Now go
Way
do
to go,
this."
buddy.
And then like it gives you a bunch of other quests to do, which are all kind of like daily bounty style quests. And then they say, well, go buy this urn from Zur, that guy that shows up 2 days a week. Yeah. And then start all these other missions, which I'm in the middle of. And I'm like, it's fine. Like, I bought the limited edition or whatever it is. And I got this DLC, as part of that purchase. DLC, I think is like $15. I kind of expect more out of the single player stuff than 3 missions and a bunch of bounties.
Yeah.
Like, and I guess if I was to be my own devil's advocate, there's a lot new weapons. There's a lot of new like Vanguard and Crucible stuff, of which is really great.
Yeah.
This morning I just bought a new weapon from the Crucible, which is outstanding.
Nice.
But like I don't have a group of people to go play Crota's End with. So like I don't have a direct path to go play the raid quite yet. I'd still really like to. I'm not level 30 yet.
Definitely. I'm level 30. I need to get a new main weapon, but other than that, like I think I could do regular Crota's End at this point.
Yeah, I probably could too once I make that final little leap up to 30.
Yeah.
But it's just a little bit disappointing that this game really needed more, and it's going to be tough for Bungie because it puts a lot more pressure on the House of Wolves DLC that's coming out allegedly this month. Because if you look at the leaked slideshow of everything that they have planned for the rest of the year, the next piece of DLC is that huge DLC we may be getting in September.
Mm-hmm.
So House of Wolves needs to really show Destiny players that it's going to be okay for these next 6 months between these DLC packs, because either they're building up something that they'll deliver light pieces of DLC throughout, or the state of the game as it is so solid right now that doing all of this stuff is going to be okay for the next couple months.
Mm-hmm.
And they have admitted that there's problems with the Vault, which, duh. And there's problems with how they handled upgrading exotic weapons between the base game and DLC 1.
That was a huge issue.
And it still is a problem as someone who is getting more exotics and needing to upgrade them.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Smith, the very popular guy at Bungie, came out and said, like, we didn't respect your time. Like, we didn't think enough of the time that you had put into these weapons, and we reset your progress, and we don't think that's very cool. So, sure, that's all good stuff, but I'm hoping that... I still think that if you're in Destiny day-to-day like I am right now, and you're doing all this stuff, and you're playing all this content, you kind of need the DLC to get all of this new gear. That kind of sucks, but that's kind of how these games and how MMOs work.
Yeah, but leveling the same equipment twice is really, really
That's one of the
lame.
largest.
Really lame.
Yeah,
Like,
because I upgraded my Suros regime this week, and now I
mhm,
have to upgrade it again. And I'm kind
yeah,
of not great in the Crucible right now because it's not the same gun I was using before.
yeah,
So I'm not. I could use that gun, and in Control, I'm typically at the top of the leaderboards. I'm not that great at Crucible. It's just that gun helps me out a lot.
yeah.
But that's actually what I've been playing a lot of over the last couple days. Is I've been playing a lot of Crucible,
Cool.
and they added a couple of maps. One's on Mercury. They added a new one on Venus. They had a
Yeah,
new one somewhere else that I've been playing. Those maps are really good. They
yeah.
look way better than kind of the base level maps that came with Destiny. So they're kind of figuring out how to squeeze a lot more out of that engine.
That's good.
Um, and they're a lot more interesting kind of architecturally. Um, it's just, I don't know. I'd like to do the raid because I liked Vault of Glass so much, and I still think Vault of Glass is probably one of the best outstanding parts of that game.
Yeah,
And for a lot of people that are doing Crota's End, I get the impression that that's kind of still the case.
yeah.
I did the new strikes,
Oh, how'd you like the Omnigal strike?
I didn't. I didn't.
That's about what I expected. That the
Yeah.
end of that strike is absolutely brutal.
So like, I think there's I think the the Devil's Lair strike on Earth is probably one of the best examples of how to really make a solid strike in Destiny, which is
Yeah,
you have waves of enemies, sure, but it's never overwhelming. I also did the Nexus Mind, which is the new Mars one where you go back in the Black Garden.
yeah. That's pretty cool.
That one's also not as strong because like there's this balancing between I just fought through a bunch of enemies and it wasn't really enough, or are these enemies gonna stop? Am I supposed to do something? Like the Nexus Mind Strike was one of the worst ones I can think of, where you're fighting hordes and waves of enemies, and I'm like, are we supposed to be doing something different to stop the enemies from coming? And the answer
Yeah,
is no, you just have to keep killing a bunch of majors and elites
yeah.
because they don't stop coming.
They don't, and I remember the first time I did that, I was like, when do they stop spawning?
Right. I'm doing, and
They
it's
don't.
it's that thing where it's like I'm doing something wrong. There
Yeah,
there has to be some like puzzle in this dungeon where I have to go do this stuff, and then the enemies say, "Yay!" and you're good. The enemy stopped, but no.
you just have to have the right elemental weapons going into that strike, and if you don't, it's going to take forever.
Yeah, and that's just such a shame because I feel like when you take, the summoning pits, when you take the Devil's Lair, you take these really solid strikes.
Even Server's Bay 3, I like that one. I know a lot of people
Yeah,
don't.
the last boss is too much of a bullet sponge, but the rest
Mhm.
of it is pretty solid.
Yeah,
When you look at those strikes, it's enough enemies and it's enough progression and it's very clear what you're supposed to do, and that's the Destiny that I really like. Then when you look at like the Dust Palace and you look at these other
yeah,
ones that came in with the DLC, and the Omnigul one is really tough because you shoot her a whole bunch of times and then she screams and then hordes of enemies come out and
yeah,
they're tough. And then you're like, all right, I'm great with that. You shoot her a little bit more, and then the same thing happens. You feel like you can't really make progress, and
yeah.
you can't ignore these enemies.
It's time based, and it
Yeah.
should be progress based.
Right.
It shouldn't be like every X amount of minutes. It should be every X amount of health.
Yeah, it should be every, like, 25% of health.
Yeah,
Something
even
like
20% would be okay
that. Yeah. So
compared to
it's
what
just,
it is now.
I feel like Bungie continues to learn from a lot of this stuff. And it very much reminds me of, like, 2004 Blizzard, where they put out a patch for WoW, and then everybody's like, "How dare you!" And they're like, "Whoa, okay,
Yeah.
all right, learning. We learned. We're never going to do that again." And they kind of, as they go, they kind of figure out what their fan base and what their player base really figures out.
Yeah.
And I feel like Bungie is still in that 10 years ago Blizzard phase where they're like, we're going to try this, and then the internet explodes and they're like, okay, I'm sorry, All right, we're never going to do that again. How does this sound? And then everyone's like, yeah, sure, that's fine. It's like, okay. Whew. And then we wait another couple weeks, and then they make another mistake, you know?
Sounds like a good business model.
It's hard. You know, like, it's got to be hard to make Destiny, just as, like, it's got to be hard to make WoW. And this is not an excuse for a lot of the large-scale mistakes that they've made, but, you know, a lot of the small-scale stuff that they've made, it's got to be hard. You know, it's the same thing that I hear people still complaining that they wish that the Grimoire cards were in the game.
Yeah.
They would be if it was easy.
Yeah.
But it's you know, if it's clearly not a case of we'll just put them in the game, because it would have come out in a patch.
Yeah.
You know, game development isn't easy. Again, not excusing a lot of this stuff, but you know, there's clearly a communication and there's clearly a perception issue that Bungie needs to get over. They finally addressed the heavy ammo bug this week.
Oh, really?
They did. And it's really interesting the way that they explained it. So without getting into too much inside baseball for everybody, when your character respawns after going to orbit and then coming back to a planet or dying, there was an order of operations issue. If you had equipment that grants you more heavy ammo, when your character spawns, it recreates all of your weapons from scratch. And then it starts applying all of this stuff based on how your character's built and how your gun leveled and all that. And there's an order of operations thing where it would craft your heavy weapons and then would go to apply these rules to it and wipe out all of your ammo. And it took them, since the game came out, to discover this bug, to repro it, to use our standard QA terms, and then to figure out how to fix it without breaking the game completely. Because, as you might understand, this is a fairly low-level thing.
Yeah, it sounds very intertwined with the spawning and the, you know, just the
like
inventory.
Overall. Yeah.
It sounds, from a programming standpoint, it sounds too entwined.
Right.
It sounds like somebody rushed that code.
It sounds like Destiny 2 will not have that same underlying framework.
It sounds like we're going to refactor that file, if you will.
Yeah. So I think the thing that's interesting is when Bungie comes out and they're very transparent in explaining what this problem is and explaining what the resolution is, and they're saying they're aiming for a patch at the end of the month, which is all good stuff and will make raiders very happy.
Yeah.
The problem is that there's such a perception issue that this is the first update other than like one of the community managers going on Reddit and saying, yeah, we're looking into it. The thing that they're attacking first is like people cheesing bosses in the raid. It's like, we have to because we can't keep heavy ammo around and we can't generate enough money to keep buying these packs because we're maxed out at 25,000 Glimmer at any time. So like, which is silly, but there's this perception of like, okay, but are these the things that Bungie cares about from a development perspective, or are they even working on this thing that is really killing a lot of stuff for people that are playing the game, and especially people that are raiding in the game? So that's the stuff that I feel like they need to really focus on over the next couple of weeks and couple of months, is just get more transparent. You know, this game is so important for this hardcore set of people. You guys have to get your brain around how to message and how to communicate this stuff. This isn't Halo anymore.
No.
Like, you can't just throw out a bunch of stats and then fix the BR and then everybody's happy. You know, this is very much like, you know, I have this armor spec'd this way with this particular weapon and it's not working right. What's happening? And people are, like an MMO, they're invested in the character they have. It's not this dude that's shooting other dudes on a Griffball match. You know, it's, I did 300 runs of Vault of Glass already, and I want to keep doing more, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of spinning plates that they got to keep track of.
Yep. And I feel for them. It's tough, and this is not something they've done before, and it's clearly a lot of growing pains for them. But you have to learn from where people have been already. Look at all these failed MMOs. Why did they fail? What were the issues? Yeah. Look at WoW. Look at how they've grown over the last, 10 years. learn from a lot of those mistakes and learn from a lot of those successes. Because Blizzard does stuff really well. That's why their patch notes for WoW and Diablo 3 are 3 miles long.
Yeah.
Because they say, like, okay, we're going to make this change to the monk in Diablo 3, and we're changing this value from 170 to 225, and here's why we're doing it.
Yeah.
People might not like it, but they know what the reason is. So, I don't know, but right now for Destiny, I'm enjoying the grind. And I'm enjoying, all right, I got to do this to get this thing, to go do this thing, to get that thing. I'm still enjoying these little checklists and these little marches I'm making through.
I am so happy I'm not in that rabbit hole right now.
Yeah. I'm still enjoying it.
It's a comfy rabbit hole to be in. I expect to be back in it by mid-February.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping House of Wolves is good.
Yeah, me too.
For as much as I think it needs to be, as someone who's really enjoying Destiny, I really want it to be. So, and hopefully it is. We'll see, I guess, in a couple weeks whenever they announce a release date.
Yeah.
And that's all I've been playing, so let's take a break.
Cool.
Bye, dog.
Santa wants to come up and say hi.
Yeah. Oh, crap. I should go make myself another cup of coffee. Good lord.
Oh, okay, I can move this stuff over here. There we go.
Oh, I missed you too, Samson.
Oh. Yeah, man, just my PT stream is completely not safe for work.
Yeah.
It was... the few times I got jump scared in that game, the reaction was visceral.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Alright, I'm ready for the next segment, whenever you guys are.
Right.
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Plus, is it better to have the microphone standing up like this or pointed at me?
It should be pointing straight up.
Straight up, okay.
Yeah, and the Audio Technica logo should be pointing at you.
Yeah.
That's the front of the mic.
Yeah, the blue light.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I was just because I saw another setup somewhere else where it was actually like the shock mount and the condenser was pointing right at.
Yeah, that's a different kind of mic.
Yeah.
The one you have to talk at, and I don't know, like, so I'm not even talking at, I'm talking like at the screen.
Yeah. I mean, optimally, it should be right in front of you, but...
Can you not hear me well?
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
It's just the mic performs the best when you're doing that, but it's not an issue.
See, that's weird to me.
Yeah, like, that's why I just moved it, and I just move it in front of me, so... On the stream, it looks like I'm looking down at you two, but I'm actually looking over at my monitor.
Nice.
Yeah, because I'm looking at my monitor. This mic's all the way on this side, monitor's over here, and the mic, or the thing is in the middle.
Yeah. I got the microphone just slightly off to the left here.
Yeah.
So I can see my monitor.
Yeah. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. And it's IDARB.
IDARB.
Yep.
Alrighty. Alright, ready. And Grim Fandango came out last week, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go download that.
Good call.
Fuck, I lost my train of thought.
Lion face, rawr, lemon face,
Blue Steel.
Actually, I've kind of had the itch to watch whatchamacallit, Clerks 2.
Nice.
That's a good movie.
It's a great.
Because I ordered a sausage egg McMuffin today that had no egg on it.
Egg movie muffin.
And then the two people I was with ordered coffee with no sugar, and they wanted the sugar separate. They got sugared up water.
Great.
That's awesome.
Quality service.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no fire under her ass, I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
Alright. Ready. Alright, ready in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody. We got releases this week for February 2nd, 2015. IDARB for the XBO.
I am so happy this game is finally coming out.
I really want an Xbox. Like, it's weird that I want an Xbox One for this game, but it
Yeah.
looks so much fun. Is it coming out on PC at all?
They haven't said anything about it. I'm kind of assuming no at this point.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's
Chalk
kind of
one up for
surprising, but
that along with Sunset Overdrive. That's now two games I want for
See?
XBO.
two in that corner.
Two in that corner, man.
I think you'd really enjoy Sunset Overdrive.
I
Pretty
think I
good.
would too. Yeah.
All right, moving on to news stories. We've got a whole bunch this week, so let's start off with the bummer news story of the week. This week,
Yeah.
AOL is closing down Joystick,
Yeah.
the website that just celebrated its 10th anniversary. Also affected is Massively and WoW Insider.
Oh, that's a shame.
Also, weird stuff like the unofficial Apple weblog, which has been around for like 500 years.
That's
They're
weird.
closing that too.
What?
The weird part is that, and I'm not entirely sure why it's happening. They're not like pushing these blogs out and just saying like, okay, now you're free again. Like you can continue doing what you're doing.
That's
They're
weird.
laying off all the staff and just closing it.
Wow, that's brutal.
Like Joystick reported on their own demise the other day, saying
Yeah.
like rumors are saying that AOL is closing Joystick. We don't really know. And then a couple days later, AOL announced they were laying off 150 employees across all of these different websites. There's a ton of websites they're laying off, and then they're just saying, well, Engadget is going to pick up all the reporting that these other blogs are doing.
That's a bummer.
And it's like, well, that's not really why you were going to Joystick. Like,
No.
like I'm not going to go to Engadget to read their video game coverage. The
No,
people that I
not
liked
at all.
reading at Joystick are gone now. Like, that's the problem.
Hopefully they land somewhere worthwhile.
I'm hoping because there's a lot of great people that worked at Joystick that are now unfortunately facing no more jobs. So super bummer, and it's sad to see one of the first couple big video game blogs no longer around anymore.
Yeah.
Between this like One Up,
Yeah.
GameSpy?
IGN's been on the ropes for a couple of years. Yeah, GameSpy, like a lot of these really important and really seminal websites are gone now.
Yeah,
So-
and like Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty jumped ship from IGN recently,
Yep.
which is huge.
Yeah, they started their own thing. They started their
Yeah.
own Patreon, and they're just doing their own videos and podcast.
Which good for them. They should.
Yeah.
Because I think they were sort of on the fringe at IGN anyway.
Yeah. Next news story, also a surprising kind of odd bummer. Ubisoft
Yeah.
removes games from Uplay libraries, and this happened last week. I didn't want to report on it until Ubisoft said something, but basically a bunch of people went to go look for their games in their libraries and found out they weren't there anymore, and Ubisoft had forcefully removed them.
That's yeah.
Ubisoft said this week that basically what had happened is a bunch of people went to EA's Origin store and purchased a bunch of games using fraudulent credit cards, and those people sold them to retailers or resellers, and then the people that bought them from those resellers, like G2A and some of those other companies, those copies were activated on Uplay. Those were the ones that got canceled.
Ah.
So, and apparently, EA had alerted Ubisoft to the fact that they found a bunch of people that had purchased all these fraudulent copies, and then Ubisoft's answer was, "Well, we're just gonna remove them." It's like, well, the larger issue here is the people that are buying those copies from legitimate stores don't know that they're buying
Stolen goods. But
stolen
Yeah.
keys. They're just getting a cheap copy of Far Cry 4. Maybe it's like a $40 copy of Far Cry 4. The problem, and so it seems like the people that are getting their copies deactivated don't have a lot to do right now.
Yeah.
Apparently Ubisoft is saying, like, well, go talk to those guys that sold you this stuff. And I was like, well, that,
Doesn't solve the problem.
yeah.
Doesn't
that
solve the
doesn't-
problem for the person that paid to play your product, not
Right.
just from you.
Yeah.
That shouldn't happen. They should be going after those resellers. That's what they should be doing.
Right. Yeah, Ubisoft should be going after the resellers and saying,
Hmm.
you sold these copies. Whether you knew they were fraudulent or not, we can chase this rabbit hole down. But the consumer shouldn't be the one that's going like, hey, I bought a copy from you. And Ubisoft over here said, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, can I go out and play with my friends? Go ask your dad. Hey, can I go out and play with my friends? Well, what did your mom say? It's like I don't care. I
Yeah.
just want to play my game. Like it doesn't. Ubisoft as a corporate entity should be the ones that's resolving this issue for the consumers instead of saying like, "Hey man, I don't know, you bought that thing."
Yeah,
Your
that's
problem.
really consumer hostile, which is not
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I would say if anybody that's listening had any issues with this and nobody is willing to resolve your issues, start getting with the Better Business Bureau and start filing complaints.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like a bad thing, but if you're running up against brick walls and you've done a little bit of work, I'm not saying you need to do their job for them. BBB complaints go a long way. Still.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. So, come on, Ubisoft. You're better than this. Next news story, let's keep bringing this down here. The Q Entertainment announced that they're bringing a copy of Luminous to iOS and Android.
Bye.
My condolences.
Yeah, I can just make noises at this point. I hope it's good.
The good news is that Tetsuya Mizuguchi is working on it again.
Which is really exciting. And
Yeah.
I hope I'm worried about touch controls with that game.
Hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be really good. They could figure out. I mean, if they found a way to make KOTOR playable on iOS, they can probably find a way to make Luminous work okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, you only have 3 controls for that game anyway.
Yeah.
As
Left
long as
and
you're not
right.
moving the screen around.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, man. That's going to be trouble. So whenever that comes out, expect us to be talking about that a lot on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize in advance. Next news story here. Surprisingly, PlayStation, since it's a separate part of Sony now, announced on the PlayStation blog that they're dropping PlayStation Music. They're
Good.
What were they officially calling? Music Unlimited.
Yes.
They're officially dropping it, and surprisingly, in a really great move, they're picking up Spotify.
That's awesome.
That's even better.
Yeah, it's sort of like, you're dropping that thing that nobody used or liked because it was too expensive, and now you're picking up something that people are already using and liking. I think that's a really great business move for them. I think
Yes.
this is one of those decisions that Sony has made recently where you sort of say, okay, yeah, that was a good call. Instead of... Oh, go ahead.
When all the gears are turning at Sony, they can do smart things. Like, it's just like you see one of these and you go, yes! And then the next 3 dumb decisions you go, but you just did this!
Yeah, and a Sony that isn't stubborn is really great because that's all people want. It's like so many people use Spotify already.
Yeah.
And if you can say, well, here's a Spotify app, and you just log in with your credentials. If you're paying for it already, great. If you're not, great. You can still use it. Now you have Spotify on your PS4 and maybe your Vita. Who knows?
Yeah.
It says initial launch on PS3 and PS4 and Xperia branded devices.
Of course.
Yeah, so your Xperia phone, the 2 of you that are using one of those. So good on Sony. That's one of those good decisions that that you hope they keep making.
Yeah.
Next news story here. The Homeworld Remastered Collection finally has a release date of February 25th.
Sweet.
If you have not played Homeworld, it's one of the best RTS games that's kind of not completely an RTS all the time. Go play these games. 1, at the very least, is outstanding. 2 is really great, although I kind of play too much of it to get into. But these games are amazing. Some of the best PC games ever.
That's one of my it's one of my favorite RTS. It's definitely the hardest to master out of all of them.
Yeah, it's challenging. I mean, it's not one of those things where it's not like Warcraft 2 where it's like, oh, just build more units. That's a game that gives you a good. It's not impossible. Gives you a really good challenge.
But it adds that dimension of 3-dimensional space that you have to work in.
Yeah.
And flanking and pincer moves and it is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's basically Homeworld 1 and 2, new models, new textures, new effects, new recordings from the voice cast. They remade the cinematics and a brand new remastered score.
Wow.
But if you want to play the originals, they're in there too.
That's
you just
fantastic.
fire up the original ones.
Wow.
It is it's 27 euros, which I'm not entirely
like if I remember correctly from my trip to Ireland, that's like $40.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, even if it is $40, that's a pretty good deal for two of the best PC RTSs. That's how much Warcraft 2 still costs.
Oh no, it's about $30. My bad.
Even better.
Yeah.
What a steal.
It's getting cheaper. Keep talking.
Yeah. I got $20. How does that sound? Next news story, one of the biggest news stories this week is Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford was recently teasing, at PAX South, we're going to have a big Borderlands announcement. Everyone's like, they're going to announce Borderlands 3. They kind of did.
Yeah.
By saying, hey, we're going to start working on it soon. Do you want to work for Gearbox? Yes, but I'd also like Borderlands 3.
Yeah. It makes sense for them to make that announcement at PAX South, though, considering where they're located out of.
Oh, absolutely. Like, hey, you live in Texas, you want to work for Gearbox?
Yeah.
You can.
I don't know.
I don't know. I was surprised that he pumped that up at least a little bit, but that there also weren't any other details. Like, I'm not saying like, it's gonna come out on this date, it's gonna have all this cool stuff, and we're putting Claptrap's back, and different worlds. Like, at least like, I guess the news they came out with was, hey man, we haven't even started, we don't know.
Yeah, which is actually more disappointing than it is exciting. Because it's like, you haven't started? Well, but it's also sort of a good thing, because I've been Borderlands'd out.
I need a little bit of a breather, yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I'm kind of old gamed out right now because it seems like the only thing I've played came out within the last 2 years.
Yeah, well, and my wife and I are excited about the Handsome Collection because we want to go and we want to actually play the pre-sequel together. But after that, I'm gonna kind of be done for a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
I was already done after Borderlands 2. I don't even want to invest in the Handsome Collection.
Well, I mean, Borderlands 2, if you look at all the DLC, it lasted up until the pre-sequel came out.
Yeah.
It's like, for Borderlands 2, that's great, and that's a lot of great DLC. I need to take a little bit of a breather here.
Yep.
Just let's take a knee for like a year. 2 would be great. So if a new Borderlands doesn't come out for like 3 years, that's okay. I will be so excited for a new Borderlands 3 years from now.
For sure.
Someone, soundbite that. Tell me 3 years from now when I'm like, ugh, Borderlands 3.
Already?
Yeah,
you missed your window. Like,
yeah, exactly. 2 years, we would have been fine, but 3 years, please.
Yep.
Next news story, 2 games that probably I'm the only person that cares about beyond 7 to 10-year-old children. Traveler's Tales announced 2 new LEGO games for 2015. LEGO Avengers, which will hopefully be pretty cool, especially since that movie comes out this year, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
March or May.
May.
One of the M's. And LEGO Jurassic World, which will come out in June and span all 4 of the films.
I want to see some Lego.
dinosaurs. Lego dinosaurs.
That should be pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited.
I'm pretty pumped for that.
Yeah, and they also announced that a whole bunch of stuff is coming out to iPhone and iPad, like Lego Movie video game, Lego Batman 3. That's not where you want to play that stuff.
No, not at all.
You want to
but
play
you can.
Sure, if that's what you got, but you should get something else.
Yeah.
They're out on PC too, and they're dirt cheap.
Yes.
So go play those. And last news story we have here. Slug Jones in chat says, hey, I like the Lego games. I love the Lego games. Nobody else does, except for like 7-year-olds that are like, yay, Lego games. And me like, yay, Lego games. Oh, I'm 33.
I like Lego Marvel.
You should play more of them. Lego The Hobbit was really good. The 2 Lego Harry Potter games were really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
I like Lego Star Wars.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with
I'm sure there's going to be a new one for 7, so...
Oh, God. Heaven help us. I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, I forgot that was a thing.
And the last news story here this week is the February PlayStation Plus free games lineup. Don't write in. Free is in quotes. Let's go through because we got some hot bangers here. We got for PS4, Transistor. Get it.
Yeah.
Game's great. We got Apotheon for PS4.
I think it's Apotheon.
Apotheon.
Yeah.
I don't know what that game
really
is.
Cool.
It's free. I'll try it.
Yeah.
Yakuza 4 for the PS3.
Yeah, I'm going to play that.
I want to play a Yakuza game other than the first one that I tried, and it's not good. And if you want more Yakuza games to show up in the West, maybe you should download this. Thief for the PS3. Probably not the way you want to play that. Maybe that's one you should pass on.
Maybe you don't want to play that.
Yeah.
Even for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the one you want to play for free is Rogue Legacy on Vita, PS4, and PS3. You can't go wrong any platform you play it on. Play that game. It's amazing. And then a game on the Vita called Kick and Fennec, which I couldn't really find any great news.
I think it's new, so.
Yeah. So almost like 4 of those games are good. You should go get that. If you don't have a PlayStation Plus subscription and you have a Vita or a PS4, you should do that. There's great games every month.
Yeah.
Go buy that. And if you wanted to buy the Grim Fandango remaster, it's on sale right now if you have PlayStation Plus.
Really?
Yeah, it's a couple bucks off.
Does it work yet?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna
They had a rough launch.
A little bit.
Yeah, that's
on PS4.
Putting it kindly.
Yeah.
Some platforms had a little bit of a rough time with a game that's really old.
Yeah, well, so I think it was preload was the issue.
Oh, interesting.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
Well, it probably still has a lot of graphical weirdness that people are running into. But hey, it's Grim Fandango. It's still probably really good. And now you can actually play it because it's not impossible to find.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to... We don't have any emails this week, but we do have one tweet from Adderblack39.
Cool.
Writes in to say, do you think there are too many open-world games out at the moment? Would you prefer more linear games, quality over quantity? Thanks, guys.
Yes. I'm just going to say it. Yeah.
I feel like there's this weird, sine wave that happens where every once in a while there'll be, 6 open world games and then nothing for a year and then 7 new open world games. It's sort of I think it doesn't help that there's a lot of remasters happening right now.
Yeah,
like GTA 5, Saints Row 4, that's coming on the heels of Dying Light, Shadows of Mordor. I'm probably missing something in here. I don't remember. But there's all there's just this tidal wave of open world games. Oh, there's a new Dead Island coming out some point this year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's overload because all of our favorite games from years past have been open world games. Now we're getting all these remastered things, so it seems like there's a glut of them out there. There isn't a whole lot of new stuff.
Well, and if you listen to the show, you're probably a lot like us where you're like, ooh, shiny baubles, and you're a magpie, and you have to collect all of them. So one open world game takes you 56 hours to beat. And it's like, all right, now GTA 5. And it's like, oh, I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I like open world. There's certain open world games I can get behind. The Assassin's Creed games, Dragon Age Inquisition. Well, Dragon Age Inquisition is sort of
Saints Row.
A bunch of small contained open worlds, which I can handle.
Put them on an island.
If you give me a GTA or a Saints Row, it's a miracle I ever beat Saints Row 3. And just those big open world games, I get that choice paralysis, and I just shut down and go, nope, I'm playing something else.
Dimebag in chat says new Batman later this year. That's full-on open world. Yep. You mentioned Assassin's Creed. We got 2 of those this year.
Yep.
So it's just so many where you're like, oh, what's this game? Oh, it's a zombie-filled open world? Great, thanks.
Because of course it is.
Yeah. I was so excited about Dying Light. I'm kind of still excited about it because it looks like it's very focused on the parkour stuff, but I don't know, man. A zombie-filled open world game, I'm sort of like, okay.
I saw a clip of that where some dude, he started off throwing a hatchet and then busted out a sword and just, chopped 3 or 4 zombies in half. And I was just like, I might try that. That looks pretty cool, actually.
I was really excited about it until someone someone was playing it and they were beating up. It was Giant Bomb. They were beating up a bunch of zombies, and then their weapon broke. And I'm like, I'm already out.
I hate that.
I hate that
hate
in games.
that.
Oh, you're talking about Dead Rising?
More like Dead Island, but
Yeah.
Dead Rising did that too, but like less to an extent.
Hey, was that joke that Keith David makes in the original Saints Row 4? 'Cause I don't remember, where he's like, I was 12 hours in the Dead Island, and then Zinyak descended. I'll never forgive him for that.
Yeah, I think that was in the original. Yeah.
Okay.
Because Dead Island 1 came out before Saints Row 4. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dead Island, I thought, didn't that come out before THQ folded?
Well, I thought Saints Row 4 came out before they were acquired by Deep Silver.
Yeah.
No, it was a couple months after they got acquired.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I think when THQ went under, we were like, well, great, now we're not going to see another Saints Row. And then they're like, well, Enter the Dominatrix is now Saints Row 4. And we're like, what? This is even better.
Yeah.
Direct quote from TVGP, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Whoa, crazy, whoa. Yeah. But that's all the tweets and emails we have this week. Thank you very much for everyone for writing in. You can visit us at tvgp.tv. Email us tvgpfans@gmail.com. Tweet us at TV. Everything else is on the right hand side.
And don't forget to join the forums. Please mark yourselves on the map. Join us for Monday Night Game Night. It's Friday night game night.
Oh.
That's on the XBO Battlefield 4. That's at 10 p.m. EST regularly on the reg.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thursday night game night, still Steam game night. And then we have Wednesday nights with PlayStation 4.
Yep, you can find me on PSN at the Hannah. And we got a good crew going, and we'd like to add to it, so feel free to join us.
Keep the momentum going.
Yeah. So the current TVGP Game Club game is Dead Space 2. I will be playing that on the 360, so unfortunately I will not be streaming that. I don't have the proper setup for it, but I'm definitely excited to play it. I played the first Dead Space when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't touch any of the sequels. So
You haven't played
excited to see
either
what
one of
happens.
them?
Nope.
Like we said,
really good.
Like we said last week, if you're interested in Dead Space 2, and you should because it's the best game in the series, and you haven't played Dead Space 1, pop that thing in on easy. It's not 100% required for 2, but it makes 2 a lot better, and it's not super long.
No.
So, and Slug Jones in chat says, we will get Thursday night game night going again. So, you heard it here first.
Indeed.
And don't forget, you can watch us live, twitch.tv/E1M1 Network, every Sunday at 1 p.m. PST. That's 4 p.m. Eastern. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We always really appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.
Laters.
Peace.
I don't have any titles. Oh, dog's getting excited.
I got a few here. They're not great, and then we had one really good one early on in chat, so I'm gonna read that.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I have Shiny Things in Space. He Goes Where He's Needed. Santa's Dubstep Gun. Mechbot Nutcrackers. This cool thing over there. Then They Make Another Mistake. Just Build More Units. It's Getting Cheaper, Keep Talking. Take a Knee for Like a Year. And Full On Open World. And the one I saw in chat was Dimebag 315. I Gave Myself a Charlie Horse.
Mechbot Nutcrackers.
I'm a big fan of that one.
All right, hold on. I'm writing some stuff down.
Nice. Let's see if there's any other show titles in chat.
I wrote down It's Getting Cheaper, Keep Talking.
Yeah.
Mechbot Nutcrackers.
Yeah.
Boy, that one's kind of punchy. I like that one. Now that I said it out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to vote for that one. How's that one sound?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Mechbot Nutcrackers. Boy, that's a hot one.
Yeah.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 380 for February 2nd, 2015. Mechbot Nutcrackers.
Bring it, Claus.
It's like Christmas.
Ooh, it's like Christmas. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. See you next week. Bye. Okay, bye.